Hi everyone, it's Margaret Manning here with She Cruises. I hope that you're having a fabulous day wherever you may be cruising in this beautiful world of ours. And thank you so much for being here. Thank you for your support. Now, I've just posted an article on the website about a cruise line that you might be interested in knowing more about. I decided that in my lifetime, I'm not going to get to experience personally all these cruise lines that are appearing now, but I wanted to share with you some that look like they're good value for money. And that's based on the feedback from sites like Cruise Critic and others that gather customer information, customer feedback, and also just looking at the pricing and what you seem to get for your money, and also the descriptions of the ships. So if you've got feedback on this particular line or in any of the ones that I'm going to be writing about, please leave your comments below. You find with cruise ships, there's like always a spectrum of feedback. People loved the experience, they hated the experience. And we always seem to be a little bit not critical, but hyper analytic when it comes to the post cruise experience. But anyway, this is a cruise line that I think is interesting and one that you might want to know about. It is called Mirela. Now, Marella is actually owned by the TUI company, which is it's a German company, I believe, and they are one of the largest in the world. They have hotels, travel companies, of course, all kinds of other travel-related businesses. But they bought the Thompson cruise line a few years ago, and so the Marella is part of that world. Now, you may be familiar with some of the big cruise names like Cunard and Royal Caribbean and Norwegian P&O. There's all wonderful options that you have got. And of course, Hurtigruten, I can't forget that one, which is one of my favorites. So these are cruise lines I've had experience with, and that maybe you have as well. But I'd like to focus on these lesser known lines and see whether there are some opportunities for women who are looking to cruise, but just cannot afford that amount of money that is often required, especially if you are a solo traveler. And I've got a very, very important little message for you at the end of the video here, a company that I highly recommend that you consider working with. I've just discovered them myself, and I don't want to end this video without reminding you about them. They are specialists in solo travel, and this is becoming, in my opinion, a really important distinction when you're working with a company to book your cruise. And I would actually, hand on heart, recommend that you work with a booking agency directly, because trying to do it online by yourself, you just don't get, in my opinion, the best deals. So Mirela has won all kinds of awards by Cruise Critic, which is another very, very big site that gathers information, feedback from cruise customers across the whole spectrum. It won, for example, the Merela Discovery, which is the #1 ship on the Cruise Critic list for 2019. They won the best for shore excursions and entertainment, fitness, recreation, and also the Merela Celebration won the best service and best value for money. So this is a line that's there in the background. It's people are enjoying it. I would say it's a British cruise line in the sense that it sails from ports in the UK. But what makes Merela interesting from my perspective is you don't have to always go from London, Gatwick or Heathrow. There's 21 ports all around the UK that you can sail from. And also they have ports abroad, and I'll talk about that in a second, but places, if you live in Europe or even in the United States, if you're coming to Europe and you want to add on a cruise to your experience, then you can do that from a port in Europe or other places around the world. So I think that they cruise around Europe, Asia, the northern Baltic, the Norwegian fjords. They are all over the place, and they've got a very interesting fleet of ships. So let's see, talk about the Heathrow Gatwick. Again, a budget line, yes, I would consider them a budget line. And what do you mean by that? Well, you're not going to get the big casinos and the amazing, flashing lights and, gorgeous decor. It's going to be very ordinary, plain, functional, but beautiful. I mean, these ships are gorgeous. And, you don't have to think you're not going to have a good experience. For me personally, it's about the places, the people, and the perspectives that I get when I cruise. And so for me, I don't mind if I'm in a small room, inside room. It doesn't really matter. I love, of course, a balcony. That would be fantastic. And I've traveled in a very beautiful situation with Viking, for example. Their ships are just gorgeous. They're luxury experiences. And Windstar is another one. But Marella is going to be a ship that's going to be very safe and clean, and the staff are wonderful, and the food is now on a spectrum. It depends what you're looking for, but you're going to not starve, and it's going to be okay, and you're going to visit great places. So in terms of those ports, by the way, that they sail from abroad. They sail from Spain, Corfu in Greece, of course, Cyprus, Croatia, and also Barbados. So they are sailing from places that may be close to your home or home base. Now, they don't cruise from the United States, but as I mentioned, if you're going to spend a few weeks in Europe for a summer holiday and you want to do a Norwegian cruise, you can then just pick it up in a convenient spot. And then take the cruise from there. So it's actually, I think it's got a lot of versatility. The ships, well, I can go through the whole list, but they're in the article if you want to read in a little bit more detail. They are the Celebration is one of the smaller ships, and it's an adult-only ship. That's another characteristic of the Marella ships. The Marella Dream is great for kids and families because it's got a lot of activities on board. The Discovery is the one I mentioned earlier. It's like a great all-around ship. It holds about 1,800 guests, and because it's that's considered mid-size, it's able to get into places and have a more flexible itinerary schedule. And that one is the highly rated one by customers who were reported on Cruise Critic. Marella Discovery 2 is a sister ship that's just been built to Mirela Discovery 2, and it's got new onboard itineraries and new onboard features, and I think one of the others is the Explorer 2, I think, is exclusively for adults. So you can check out all the different ships in the fleet in the article on the website that I've listed, but you can of course go out to their website and just spend a few days looking at all the offerings. So I think there's two more things I wanted to talk about with Marella. One is that they have got great itineraries. In the summer 2020, which is what I was looking at because it's a little late now for the summer 2019, they've got a really interesting Mediterranean medleys and the fjords. They've got ones that are like the Adriatic and the Mediterranean. Lots of choice when it comes to itineraries, and I really love that because a lot of us, especially people like me who love to cruise, we know we're going to get repeat seas. We're going to go to the Mediterranean several times, but when they stop at different places, it makes it a really cool experience. So that's something to consider. Now, the last thing about Marella, which I'm just so excited about, is that they have a great solo program for solo travelers. This is not single travelers. This is not a singles cruise. This is for solo travelers, women who want to travel, but perhaps their partners or husbands don't want to travel. Women who are retired or maybe changing their work routine so they can take time off. Maybe you want to take your grandkids for a little cruise. I did this with my grandson in Scotland with Fred Olsen, and it was fantastic. He had a great time. But you've got a more openness. And I've said this before, there are women now over 50, 60, 70, 80, traveling more than ever before. It's so exciting. I love it. So they've got amazing program for solo cruises. Now, admittedly, the pricing is not is not as cheap as if you were sharing, but it is certainly not double, and it's a good deal. I would really highly recommend you looking at their solo travel program. And the little surprise or the special mention that I want to make at this point is a company that I discovered fairly recently. And I really like them. I've talked to their owner of the company and also to the person that manages all their kind of special deals, and Steve, and it's Passion for Cruises. passionforcruises.co.uk. They are specialists in solo travel, and they have an amazingly fun and informative Facebook website or Facebook page. It's a great page because there's all kinds of deals. They post them every day, and they negotiate with the cruise lines special prices for solo travelers. And for example, they've got one now for Hurtigruten for the classic cruise I did, and the price is wonderful for a solo traveler. And then they work with other cruise lines to do just special deals. Maybe they get 100 seats or 50 seats, and then they offer those to their clients. And I really recommend you checking them out. Now, the only thing is, of course, they're a UK company, So they actually, all their cruises that they organize are from the UK, but there's often others that you can join other places, and I would highly recommend you checking it out, passionforcruises.co.uk, and talk to one of their people there. They're super, super helpful. And the Facebook page is also Passion for Cruises. I think it's called Forum for Passion for Cruises. And people are just on there talking about their cruise experiences and what trips they're going to be taking. It's really fun. So I hope that that's given you some ideas about a cruise line that you may not have known about, Marella, and also about a great resource, Passion for Cruises, that helps with solo traveling. And I hope that you found this useful. Do you have a favorite cruise line? Tell us about your experiences. I'd love to know. Well, thanks again for being here. Thank you for your support of She Cruises. Tell a friend, and just enjoy whatever you can manage to do with cruising, and if not, just vicariously through our reviews and our stories. And I look forward to sharing more of my cruise experiences with you in the future. Take very good care, everybody. Bye-bye for now.